ago in 2010, Gretchen Hyde, Executive Director of the Idaho Rangeland Resources Commission, was ready to make a change. She'd been trying to spread educational messages about Idaho's rangelands via TV, print, and radio ads.
So we did 30-second TV spots, which super hard to get the message out in a way that was, because it's very complicated. There's no, simple, all ranchers do this and all ranchers do that. The rest of the story is what was interesting to me, and the passion that people had for the land and the place and the history and their livestock and the plants. We couldn't tell that story in 30 seconds.
Gretchen approached Steve Stuebner, a public relations pro with a strong background in outdoor and natural resource issues, to see if he'd be interested in telling stories about rangelands and ranching. Stuebner had just gotten laid off from a PR job in Boise. He was intrigued.
It was really good timing for Gretchen to approach me then for several reasons. Number one, the new media thing was happening. And YouTube had been really getting hot and popular, and in the 2000s, when I started at Drake Cooper Agency, my boss was like, you get a YouTube channel, you sign up for Facebook and Twitter, and you use them, get to know them, blah, blah, blah. So by 2010, I really had a strong skill set, I think, on the PR side of things, but also on the use of new media. And basically what that does is it gives you a chance to tell your own story unfiltered. It's a kind of a game changer for just about anybody.
That's exactly what Gretchen Hyde wanted to do, create her own media platform for the Rangeland Commission so ranchers, agency professionals, and others could tell their stories about Idaho rangelands. Just listen to the late John Peavy.
Ranching is a wonderful way to spend your life. I mean, you're out here and it's spectacular. People travel from all over the world to come up here and spend a week at Sun Valley, and I spend my lifetime up here. And it's the animals, the interaction of the animals, the dogs and the cows and the sheep, and even the horses have got personalities, and it's a lot of fun, very, very rewarding.
A key objective for the Idaho Rangeland Resources Commission was, and still is, to reach urban outdoor enthusiasts with its educational messages. So the notion of hiring Stuebner to tell their stories seemed like a good fit. He had a strong following from selling Idaho outdoor books and writing weekly tips in an outdoor blog. Hyde and Stuebner created a newly branded educational website called Life on the Range. Their vision and mission for the Life on the Range series remains true to this day, to showcase real stories about the ever-changing landscape of ranching, multiple-use management, entrepreneurial spirit, family, and stewardship on Idaho's rangelands. Each story would be told in video and print. The Rangeland Commission Board of Directors and partners provided great counsel along the way. Over the last 15 years, over 85 stories have been published on the Life on the Range website and YouTube channel. People seem to like it. Today, the Life on the Range video channel has more than 6,800 followers and 8,200 followers on Facebook. The most popular Life on the Range story so far is about Wilder sheep rancher Frank Schertz, raising sheep from A to Z with more than 960,000 views. Back in 2010, Hyde was hearing concerns about hiring Stuebner to craft the stories.
I had a lot of one-on-one conversations of, what are you thinking here? Steve Stuebner had a reputation, let's just say that. Steve Stuebner was very involved as the environmental reporter for the Idaho Statesman and High Country News, and had kind of a reputation for, in-depth and reporting, but I could tell you had a passion for place. And, I'd done some research on your recreation, and you were exactly who we needed to be talking to and building relationships with and understanding more of each other's perspective.
Steve was, he was one of the folks of that greener environmental thing that I was scared to death of. I mean, I'll be right honest with you. Gretchen called me. She said, I think I found the guy, and Steve Stuebner. And I'm like, oh, strike fear in my heart. But it wasn't because of a bad experience. It was just like, are you sure? And we went through all that. But like Gretchen pointed out, Steve was exactly who we needed to be talking to and tell our story.
The first story out of the chute was about Schwenkfelder's daughter Kayla, who created a wildlife pond on the family ranch as part of an FFA project.
It's kind of one of those fun things when you have the opportunity to live on this beautiful ranch. You can have 5 acres to do whatever you want with, and a family that's willing to give up the 5 acres to do it, to let you make your dream come true. If you build it, they will come, and it's amazing. You'll see geese out here and swans and ducks, mallards, and buffleheads, and just a variety of wildlife, and it's great.
She got a national award for it, and she got some scholarships that came out of that. So, being an FFA wasn't just about having cows for her, it was doing other stuff and making kind of a balance on the ranch of wildlife and cattle. And so that kind of started the ball rolling, and we just try to continue that.
Also in that first year, the Life on the Range video crew visited Chris Black's ranch in Owyhee County. Black had recently been honored nationally as the BLM Steward of the Year.
We went out with you on Pole Creek and stuff, and you showed us what you'd been doing there, and really challenging management over the years, and you were really changing things up, and your dad had given you that, the freedom to do that, and you were leaving your mark. And you were explaining to us what you're doing out there, and that was phenomenal.
When that first started, it was like, well, this is Idaho. You were kind of, going through the motions, but as we got into looking at things and seeing the interesting things that have happened out there, you got excited about it.
Yep.
So that's what made any story. It wasn't me particularly. Backgrounds are beautiful any place in Idaho, but it was you being able to garner the story out of me.
Stuebner liked to showcase conservation success projects on rangelands.
What we actually carved out was the idea of actually telling success stories. A lot of success stories, and a lot of them related to conservation, not all, but to me, those stories were going to resonate with the urban audience, our target audience, who uses the outdoors and goes out and uses our rangelands all over Idaho. Let's go see it. Let's film it. Let's have people talk about the project, and then you can tell it's an authentic, genuine, real project that's going to improve things out there on the range.
Well, the operative word is that you made it our story. You made it your story too.
Steve has the ability to find the story and find the positives and find ways to tell our story in better ways than we know how. And I appreciate you.
Thank you.
You said, I want to make these guys heroes so they sell. Well, you did. And then that's what really boosted people to looking at the conservation, which is sold to the heart of all ranchers.
Yep.
And seeing through their eyes.
Yep.
In my opinion, in my humble opinion anyway.
IRRC public opinion polls, done every 5 years, showed that the Life on the Range video series improved public engagement and understanding. After new Life on the Range stories came out, Stuebner shared them with the Idaho mainstream media to expand the audience.
One of the pioneering things that we did right out of the chute was the idea that we not only tell our story on our YouTube channel and on our website, which was all really well presented, I think, state of the art, but we shared these stories with the media. You dish them a success story, and that becomes news. And that wasn't news before.
Judges for the Idaho Press Club have repeatedly recognized the Life on the Range series with top awards in the Online Videos Public Affairs Division. Life on the Range videos also are used by teachers and professionals as an educational resource.
I've made it a practice every year of showing at least one Life on the Range video that is applicable to the topic that we're covering at the field day that day. And so those materials and those videos have been extremely valuable.
The Life on the Range crew did educational videos on student field trips, spotlighting the use of IRRC educational materials, helping students learn in the field.
One of our standards says photosynthesis and talking about the process and how the cellular structure works with the plant. So out here they can actually use that knowledge now to identify different features of the plant and how they'll use that to grow. So it gives them a chance to put hands on what we're doing in the classroom.
Being able to tell these stories and have videos that teachers can share that are relevant to where they live, the subjects that they're talking about, as well as just understanding more about the, science. There's a lot of scientific information in these videos, and so teachers use them often and share them with their kids that, even in the FFA and ag classes, it's not ranch kids. It's not farm kids. These are kids who maybe are a little more urban, but not, they just are interested. They want to learn more. So that's been a huge driving force in our Life on the Range, is being able to share those with students as well.
Life on the Range tackled challenging topics like big wildfires.
On a hot, dark night in early August, a multitude of lightning bolts struck the foothills and mountains north of Mountain Home, igniting numerous wildfires. Grass, shrubs, and timber were tinder dry after months of no rain and below normal snowpack, so the fires took off.
I was listening to the fire channel radios to the Danskin Lookout, and he just started calling in fire reports everywhere, and we just went, oh my God. It went crazy from there.
I just never pictured the whole ranch going up at once.
When the Elk and Ponies, the fire there at Mountain Home started,
Being there.
we had an opportunity there to tell a story and tell it from an emotional and
Right.
something that was in the news right then. You could tell it, but the repercussions to that were amazing. That's how RFPAs, they were in the infancy then, but that's what really boosted them going, telling that story, having Charlie on there tear up. She took the opportunity to do that and brought the storytelling to it, and it benefited our community in numerous ways.
In one of the most challenging projects, Life on the Range tackled the wolf issue with a 5-part series for Life on the Range. Stuebner and Hyde worked closely with the IRRC Board of Directors to carve out the scope of the series, taking a chronological approach.
That was a huge undertaking, and to go to do all the interviews you did with that, and I've put that web link in front of a lot of people in the last 5 or 6 years, because that need still exists to tell that story.
The 5-part series has been a big hit with hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube. The series provided an educational understanding about how wolf populations expanded from the time they were reintroduced to central Idaho in 1995 to present day.
I think the key thing is you were telling the story. Okay, us as ranchers, we tell stories to learn. We tell stories, but our stories are history and now. So you told the complete story.
Right.
And that's what made it successful.
The Life on the Range series also produced legacy stories about Idaho ranchers who are considered icons or legends in the industry. It's been gratifying for Hyde and Stuebner to see those videos played at the memorial services for the late Bud Purdy, Phil Solon, and John Peavy.
Yeah.
That's Idaho.
Right.
That is Idaho. These are the people that built Idaho, and that's Idaho. You know, it's been a great ride.
It's been an absolutely perfect thing and a perfect partnership.
You know, it's been an incredible privilege for me.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel about it.
Stuebner is eyeing retirement from life on the range in the next couple of years. In the meantime, he looks forward to telling more stories about Idaho's rangelands and ranching heritage, staying true to the life on the range theme.
Steve has been a joy to work with. Your enthusiasm, your work ethic, your just tenacity to get a story done and you're done fast. I mean, like, you are so productive. It's just incredible. It's got a great team, I guess is what I'm saying, and that's something that I think you've built, and I just can't say how much I appreciate.
Today we have a lot of new people moving to Idaho, so we've got a lot of work to do. You know, our work is never done. It's never done. In fact, it almost is more so important than it ever has been right now.
Yeah.